Hey guys, it's Ryan here, and today I want to talk about something that's been buzzing around the internet wrestling community ever since the Stone Cold podcast this past week with Paul Heyman, and that is of course the rumors of Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 32. So I made the title of this video, "Will this match happen?" But I do kind of want to go into what I would like to see if it does happen. But first, do I think it's going to happen? Now, obviously in wrestling there's plenty of things that have happened that we never thought would ever come to be. Of course, Sting at WrestleMania, someone like Samoa Joe joining WWE. Just so many crazy things have happened. Bruno Sammartino finally going into the Hall of Fame, Macho Man going into the Hall of Fame. So anything can happen in wrestling, so there's no reason to rule this out. But just given things in the past of what Austin has said, I really feel like there's a good chance that this doesn't happen. And it was just kind of a little thing that happened on the podcast, and Austin, can't have his character ever really back down. Even though this interview was out of character, I think Steve Austin, if he's put on the spot and challenged, and he's on WWE television, he can't back down. So if nothing ever comes of this, it's a shame, but I wouldn't be surprised. Austin on his podcast has been asked multiple times about returning in the ring. He's always stated he's retired, and that maybe if the setting was right he'd come back, but he highly doubts it. Of course he has a history of neck issues. He's had neck surgeries, and someone like Brock Lesnar is not going to really be too good for that with all the suplexes and all that. And I don't think Austin will want to do a match if he couldn't go all out. I think if he can't go 100%, then what's the point? I mean, he is 50 years old now, I believe, and that's, he hasn't been in the ring in well over 10 years. So I mean, there's no telling, how he would even perform. I mean, he stayed in relatively good shape, but we know ring shape and other physical shape, good or not, are very different things. You can just look at The Rock in his matches and how easily he could get tired and things like that, and that guy is in insane shape. So that just kind of goes to show how intense it is to be in good, like, WWE in-ring shape. So I think this match is unlikely. There's even a quote recently from good old JR, which let me pull that up for a second. He said, again, this match likely will never happen, but the cat's out of the bag now, and booking anything else without a major angle won't set well with the fans. Again, much to do about nothing in my opinion. So he thinks they're going to have to do something at this point because they've teased this match. And generally, WWE won't, if they tease something, it generally has to happen. That's not always been the case. I mean, we saw Hulk Hogan actually challenge Steve Austin to a match way back when, maybe like 2006, 2007, something like that. And of course, that never happened. But if this match did happen, which, like I said, I'm going out on a limb and saying it's probably not going to happen, but WrestleMania 32, Dallas, Texas, if there's ever a time for Austin to come back, this is the time. But if it did happen, what I would like to see is pretty much just maybe subtle hints. We know Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman are probably going to come back just in time for SummerSlam, so probably around July. So, Lesnar will be feuding with Rollins, Reigns, someone like that, most likely. But what I would like to see after the whole SummerSlam buzz has kind of settled in the fall, and if Lesnar's still kind of around, maybe here and there showing up for something for Survivor Series or something else, that Heyman maybe starts dropping kind of subtle, punches, subtle jabs at Steve Austin in the promos, and so we just kind of get little teasers. And then right around Royal Rumble time is when, something, let's say Lesnar has a match at Royal Rumble with whoever, and we get Austin showing up or something like that. We need some sort of teaser around Royal Rumble time which then you can kind of set the stage for their WrestleMania 32 match. And they have so much history with this feud that, you know, it would be awesome, because of course the whole thing with there was the King of the Ring, where Austin walked out, and it was one of his biggest regrets in his career, and, you know, so we never got that match. So there's history there. Austin has a ton of history with Paul Heyman, with ECW, and the whole invasion angle, and everything with that. And, you know, Austin, Heyman can say that Austin backed away from Brock Lesnar all those years ago, and there's just so much you can build off of. And of course we could have classic Austin run-ins, and, you know, he can bring the trucks back and stuff, because he's the one that can pull it off. Don't have Dean Ambrose doing that stuff. Let Ambrose do his own thing. Austin can drive the cement trucks in and all that crazy crap all they want, and it's plenty of way to build up that match without Austin having to get too physical. You can just have him do all the bells and whistles to build up the match, and then the only time he really has to get physical is, you know, he drops a few stunners on Heyman or something like that, and then and then the actual match itself. And of course there's even a history with Austin stunning Lesnar and Goldberg at WrestleMania 20, so there's so many things you can play off of with these guys. Even though, like, Austin and Lesnar didn't interact too much, you have enough going on there, enough history of Austin who walking away, and the WrestleMania 20 stuff, and the Paul Heyman stuff. There's so many things that can make this feud great. So it would be awesome if it happened. Like I said, this would be the time to do it. You know, this is the year. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna be this year. I think if Austin doesn't show up at this WrestleMania, there's a good chance that he's completely done with wrestling. As far as wrestling a match, I think Austin will probably show up at WrestleMania 32 regardless, but we don't know if he's actually going to have that match. But anyway, that's my opinion on the whole situation. Unlikely that he wrestles, but very likely that he appears. We'll have to see if an actual feud develops, but like I said, if WWE teases something, there's a good chance that it can happen. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if you think this match will happen, and how would you book it? How would you make this feud awesome? And who do you think would win? Because it's actually a really tough one, but you gotta think, I mean, do you give Austin the win? I don't know. I mean, Brock Lesnar's been so dominant. I would actually probably have to say that Brock Lesnar would most likely end up winning, just because he would be the one to continue on, you know, wrestling. And it doesn't really make that much sense that a guy who hasn't wrestled in over 10 years could take out this beast who's been so unstoppable. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. You can also check out our social media. It's in the it's in the little panel below on the left. And yeah, so let me know your thoughts. I look forward to reading them, and I'll see you guys next time.